Welcome to the Cobbcast, where we uncover the truth, ignite your mindset, and explore the realms of health, wealth, and conscious living. Join me in exploring the hidden secrets of the world, unraveling the mysteries of cryptocurrency, and also cultivating a mindset for financial health. I'm your host, Chris O'Brien, reminding you that when in doubt, it's time to zoom out and see the bigger picture. So get ready for an uplifting experience to help you come out better. Welcome back to the Cobbcast. My name is Chris O'Brien. I am your host. This is episode 15, and today I want to carry on of what episode 14 was all about, which is how to come out healthier in a world that is very toxic, where our food, our air, our water, our supplements, even the things that are on the media, the news, the things that we absorb, that we listen to, that we hear, that we repeat, negativity, pessimism, it all plays a role. Creates stress, imbalance, more acid, inflammation, emotional irregularity, spiritual disconnection, and can manifest into a lot of issues. So today I want to continue on that and go a little bit deeper and share with you actually something I've done recently, and that is doing a fast. A just straight water fast. Now, the water I've chosen to use obviously is Kangen water, and we'll be doing an episode of that pretty soon here on the Cobbcast, which will be an amazing time to explore and learn about the different properties of that type of water. But I embarked on this fast, and it wasn't by choice. So I'm going to explain to you the process of fasting. It's not the first one I've done, and for some of you that are maybe watching and listening to this now, you've been kind of getting an urge to do some type of cleanse. You know, there's juice cleanses, there's change of diets. There's intermittent fasting. A lot of people are starting to experiment with, where they eat in a 6-hour window, and the rest of their day, they're not eating at all. There's different cleanses you can do for plant medicine ceremonies, herbal, a juice fast, a dry fast where there's nothing consumed, no food or water. So there's a lot of different variations of really how to cleanse the body. Now, the other part of this podcast, I want to go deeper into it, because when you fast, not only does your body start getting rid of the things that should not be in the system, old cells, dead cells, maybe cancerous cells, things that our bodies naturally know, those mechanisms of how to keep it clean. But what happens is, after, a lot of things can arise for you. And sure, you may have physical changes. You may detox something from going to the bathroom or sweating, or you have this body odor or mucus, whatever that happens, that is your experience. But what I noticed too is, after this fast, emotions come up. Things come up that, there's so much energy that we use to break down food, to digest, to eat, to work out, to think. You have to just think in terms of energy and how our body uses energy, and how much battery power we have, and how much each of our cells and how they're powered up with energy in our brain. And just think like little batteries throughout your whole body. Like, you have these meridian lines and ley lines and acupuncture points. You have our chakra system, which is proven to be real. This is not pseudoscience. But you have these battery packs. You have like your heart battery, you have your brain battery, your lungs, your kidneys, your organs, and everything requires a charge. So what happens is, when you do a fast, you cleanse at the physical level, you start to cleanse at the cellular level, yet we're so interesting as humans that we are a species, we are a creation of God that is multidimensional. We are energetic vibration. Like, so much of our life and so much of our health is not predicated in the 3D. In fact, far from it. A lot of the things that rule these worlds, the laws of the universe, physics, quantum physics, are things that are not recognized by the eye. And so, as much as you can cleanse on a fast and physically purge and see things come out of you and into the toilet or into the bucket or into the Kleenex, it's these emotional purges that happen. And these are tough. These are hard. These are things that we may bring up memories of certain times in our past, memories of recent events, memories of traumas, because our body holds on to so much. Our fascia, our tissues, our ligament, our cells, the water. And our body is 99% water at a molecular level, and that is being proven. And if you guys know the work of Masaru Emoto, water holds memory. And so think about it. When you stop consuming, ingesting, eating, drinking, whether it's it's really a solid or a liquid. When you stop putting those things in your body for a minute, let alone a few days, especially food, because food can be a drug, right? Food can be something that you can be addicted to, a place where to numb your feelings, a place to binge eat, a place to, measure and categorize and label and subjectify. Food is a very interesting thing. And so much of our food has become fake and not even real, not even God's food. So when you stop putting these things in your system, it kind of gives your body a break, not just from digesting food, but it slows you down enough where maybe, excuse me, where you could process, and you can actually process emotions. You can process patterns. You can actually become aware of things that you've done in the past or habits and why you go reach for those things. Or, are you actually bored or are you really hungry? Why do you snack? Where do you get these cravings, your sweet tooth? And you learn so much about yourself really when less is more. And so I want to dive deeper into it. I want to share my experience. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how you can navigate a fast and then also how you can navigate when emotions come up, right? When feelings come up, when grief comes up. As you can kind of hear in my voice, still have this little cough. And the cough came a few days after my fast was over. And when I look at lungs and you look at coughing and what happens here in the heart area and your heart chakra and, heart wounds, and grief is a big one. And I'm still processing losing my father. It's not something I share openly all the time. I do plan on having an episode all about that experience, which as soon as I talk about it, I kind of immediately go back in time to all those experiences and seeing him. Grief is a hard one. Some days you think it'll never come back and you've moved on and you feel, good and you've closed that chapter of your life. And then some days it completely knocks you out. It stops you in your tracks and you just can't stop it because you have been so accustomed, for example, with a mother or father, so accustomed to having them in your life since you were born, seeing them every single day, hearing them every single day, watching everything that they do, doing everything that they do, repeating their mannerisms. You literally become them. And it's something fascinating. And it's also hard because I know so many that don't have a father still, or a father that was never present, or left early, or divorced, or was a criminal, or just wasn't home because he was traveling or at work, or wasn't present, an absent father. And same thing with the mother. The mother had to leave. The mother left early. The mother got sick. The mother found another man. I don't know. But it's like more times than not, I feel a lot of people do not have the healthiest ways of upbringings because their parents or their grandparents and all these other variables and factors. I was blessed to have an amazing household. I was blessed to have a present mother and father that were finding ways to always take care of me and my sister. And so after I did this fast, this cough came out of nowhere. I don't know what was going on. And like every time I had a really hard cough, like, those where it kind of like you cough, like nothing comes out. It's like kind of dry, but you could feel it if something's in your lungs. It's like there was just this emotion, this dense feeling that every time I would try to get rid of whatever that was in me, I would literally get so tired. I would get exhausted. Like the cough would literally put me to sleep for a couple hours. It was that intense. And then as I would dreams and I would wake up and I would remember, I would have clear memories of childhood. I would have clear memories of being in the hospital with him and feeling grief. And those are things that I know I have to just cry. I got to feel. And so backtracking to the fasting, that's kind of a summary of what I want to share with you here on this episode. And maybe you can relate to it, right? Maybe you can chime in with it and resonate with it and pick where you feel that there's some resonance here. Because like I said, this podcast is so many different layers of physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial pillars, right? Those are the 5 pillars that I want to discuss. And it's not always about me. I want to share to help you relate. I want to share to help you process, to help you find your truth, to help you discover your own gifts, to help you discover and maybe have a fresh perspective and a new excitement for life, to come out better. Every episode, I want people to come out better. So without further ado, let's dive into it a little bit deeper. Remember, you can always share this podcast, get this out, like, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star, whatever it is. Just help me share this word. As many of you know, Come Out Better and many of my platforms have been heavily censored, shadow banned. They've taken my Instagram live away. So this is really the only way that I can really share with you in the moment, even though many of you aren't on here live and it's just me talking to myself, which is always a pretty crazy thing. But I will have guests soon. So I'm really excited. With that said, Before we get started, as a reminder, take a deep breath, drop your shoulders, relax your body, take the tongue off the roof of your mouth, unclench your jaw. No more tapping your toes, relax your fingers, no more picking your nails, relax your belly, relax your hips, and just be present. There we go. Now you can hear what I'm going to tell you. Okay. Now you can hear. All right. Now you can listen. So, fasting. Now, obviously, growing up, we get programmed thinking that if we don't eat, we're going to die. You don't eat 3 meals a day, 5 meals a day, especially being a trainer and an athlete. If I didn't eat for a day, I thought I'd lose all my muscle. That was literally my thought process. Oh, if I 24 hours and I don't eat, all my hard work for 9 months is gone. That was literally my limiting belief. And boy, oh boy, how far from the truth was I. Right. And then all of a sudden you get the flu, you get the fever, you don't eat for a day or two because you're throwing up or you can't feel it or you're too hot, you just want to sleep. And then your mom or your grandma or your friend brings you a bowl of soup and you're sipping it and you're like, oh. And it's like our body naturally just fasted. And our body has this innate wisdom. It has this wisdom that if it feels like something is off or toxins are accumulating or too much acid or inflammation or stuck energy that is causing a disturbance in the way the energy flows through your meridians and acupunctures and your chakras are imbalanced, the body will get your attention. The body will make you have a stomach ache. It'll give you a headache. It'll give you a cough. It'll give you the chills. It'll give you a fever. And it's not in a way that we've been so programmed to believe only that it's because we touched a door handle at school or we touched a ball that wasn't washed. We didn't wash our hands or someone sneezed on us from across the library. It's like, hold on. What is this whole germ theory? Who came up with this? Who programmed us with this type of mentality? Because I look at now the terrain theory, the inner world. Something is going on within. And if you're not addressing it, you're not healing it, taking time to cleanse it, detox it, purify it, transmute it, alchemize it, that all of a sudden, yeah, you're going to feel a little shitty. Excuse my language. You're going to feel like crap. You're going to feel as if something is coming down with something. And as healthy as I am too, this was the craziest part. I do all the biohacks. I drink my water, eat clean, exercise, limit to basically hardly any alcohol unless a glass of organic wine or something. No hard drugs. I enjoy cannabis at times, but that's about it. And I sleep like a baby. I wake up. I'm pretty healthy. And all of a sudden I do this fast and all of a sudden now I have this cough, I'm getting the chills and the fever. So it really shined light on there is so much more that the body holds on to. There is so much more that the body processes that we don't actually comprehend consciously. And the reason being is because we're so busy. We're so busy with our life. Some of you are waking up to get your kids ready for school. Then you got to get to work. Then you got to run chores. You got to do errands. Some of you are so busy. You got to hit the gym. You got to get back to clients. You got to post on your business. You've got to make it to your 9 to 5. You got to stay after school. Some of us are so busy. We work overtime. We skip holidays. We got to do this. Our plate is full. We're so stressed out. Money is tight. Inflation. Oh my gosh. And you could feel it in the collective. People are so stressed. They're so busy chasing life. And so when you're doing this, you can't actually slow down and actually be conscious enough to see what's happening and see how you're on this hamster wheel or making the same mistakes or repeating the same habits or the same cycles. Yet every day you're hoping, closing your eyes, flipping a coin, gambling at the roulette, hoping that it changes. And it's like pure insanity. And it drives you crazy because I'm a busy person, don't get me wrong. And like I said, this fast that I did for 5.5 days, it wasn't planned. It was not planned. There are, a few things that came up in my life where I didn't feel good about some choices that I made. And my body reacted. My nervous system kind of got tight and constricted. And I came home and I sat and I was like, oh man, I kind of have this like buzzing feeling, when you kind of get like a buzzing, like something your body's fighting, your white blood cells are fighting. And I felt it and I was like, I haven't felt this in a long time. What does this mean? Well, I lay in bed, it's like 8 o'clock and I literally sleep for 12 hours. I'm like, oh my gosh, I needed that. And then I woke up and then my back started to hurt. And I was like, oh man. And then I was pretty cold when I woke up and I was like, well, I don't even want to get out of bed. I didn't have many calls that day. So that was great timing. And I'm so grateful that I can live my life where I don't have to go to work or clock in or take a sick day. I just do my own schedule. I do whatever I want. If I don't want to work a day, if I don't want to do calls or anything and just sit around, I can't. So I sat and I was laying and I was just laying there and I was tired and I was kind of having this sweats going, like kind of a fever. And I was like, am I really sick? this is the first time I'm actually feeling this way. And I wasn't eating. I was only drinking Kangen water. So days went by, and next thing you know, it's day 3, and I'm like, shoot, well, I'm feeling a little better, but do I want to eat or should I keep going? Is my body actually giving me signs to keep cleansing? Because here's what happens with fasting. Let's talk about this now. Remember, your body is broken down from our organism and then into our cell, systems, our lymphatic system, muscle, nervous system, endocrine system, circulatory system, digestive system, lymphatic system, right? The nervous system. So there's systems in our body. And then within those systems are organs. We have the heart, lungs, tissue, kidneys, spleens, pancreas, gallbladder, kidneys, lungs, brain, all that good stuff. And then our tissue, right? Well, when you break it down more, now you're getting into the cell. Each organ, tissue has cells. So remember, you're taking something big and you're breaking it down to the quantum. This is how I look at health. Okay. Society, big pharma, and our healthcare system, they don't go that deep. They just look at your organism. They just see if you have symptoms, they check your blood pressure, and then make an educated guess with the medication. But imagine if they went deeper into the cellular level, tested your cellular voltage, checked out how your mitochondria was functioning, looked at your hydration levels intracellularly, not just with your blood pressure and some salt tests. Because when you go deeper into the cell, you now get into the molecular aspect of things. And at that level, we're all water. And our water holds memory. It holds information. It holds data. It's fascinating. And I can't wait for the water episode I'm going to do. It's going to truly blow your mind. And then deeper into the molecule, you go into the subatomic, where you have the atoms, the electrons, protons, and neutrons. And that is where I started to realize that my electrons were a little down. I haven't been grounding much. I haven't been outside as much. It's been pretty gloomy here now in winter, in the thick of winter here in Southern California. I know we're complaining, but some of you guys are in like 5 feet of snow and we got a little rain and it's the end of the world. So I wasn't outside as much. I was definitely on my phone a little bit more than I usually am, holding my phone on my laptop around technology. And so I know that technology takes energy from you. It takes electrons from you. If you did not know that, it's like taking $1 a day from you every single moment. And next thing you know, you're broke and you have no money in your bank account. Now you're sick. So what does that have to do with fasting? If you have all of these cells, right? If you have all of these cells, that maybe some of these cells are cancerous. Maybe some are rogue. They've kind of mutated. They're a little oxidated, right? There's free radicals have destroyed them. They're dehydrated. They have a positive charge, and so they're like when you see under a microscope, they have the red blood cells, and healthy blood cells are buoyant and they're slippery and they move. It's like they're alive. But contaminated blood or toxic blood with pesticides, chemicals, BPAs, pharmaceuticals, estrogens, heavy metals, bacteria, certain things that probably shouldn't be in our system and not the best for us, the cell will start to clump up. All right, our bodies will start to tighten up. They won't flow freely. They'll get sticky. They call it a rouleau, and it's like blocking the dam. It's like you block the flow of energy. You block the flow of water. So what happens when you fast? Well, as soon as you stop eating, your body kind of flips a mechanism. And there's a term you guys can look up. And I learned this years ago, and it was fascinating, called autophagy. AUTOFHAGY, autophagy. Basically, what happens after a certain threshold, a certain point, if your body does not have, glucose, calories, proteins, amino, all these things that we technically give it to regenerate, to rebuild, to regrow, because we're constantly rebuilding. That's what our bodies do. We break down and build up every single day. The goal is to keep duplicating healthy cells with child cells, and those child become parents, just like humanity. If we stop producing babies, there is no humanity. There is no population. If our cells stop producing healthy baby cells that grow and turn into adult cells, and you're calling that aging. Once you run out of cells, you're dead. That's it. That's why the skin starts to sag, the hair starts to thin, it starts to turn gray, it loses its pigment, the minerals start to become deficient, you're getting colored nails, you have acid, you have inflammation, you have bad breath. It's just the symptoms of getting older for most people. So what if we could keep the body clean longer? And so what autophagy does is when you stop eating, the body flips a mechanism, and now all of a sudden it's no longer eating to regenerate. So now it flips a switch and goes, okay, let's clean. Right? If you're done eating dinner, the plates are all in the sink, right? The kitchen's a mess, and you're done eating. Now what do? You just leave it there? Most people do. They leave the dirty dishes in the sink in their lymphatic system. They leave the trash overflowing. That's their gut. They leave the fridge still open. Maybe that's their blood. They leave the water still running, or the grease stains on the stove. Maybe that's their arteries. And they don't clean anything. And then you go back into the kitchen to eat more and you make more food with the dirty plates. And now you're recycling all these toxic things. So as soon as you stop eating, your body now goes into cleaning mode. It's like the chef walks out to make the food and give you the food, the cleaner walks in. And this is where it's fantastic and truly incredible what the body does. It will start to scavenge and start to break down and eliminate, right, through either the breath, sweat, pee, or poop. Those are the four main eliminations. The biggest one is breath. So that's why breathing, quote me on this, but you could research it yourself. I think 70% of detox or elimination happens through the breath. 70%, not going number 2 or number 1 and not sweating it out every single day. All are amazing. All are important. You got to have a healthy cycle when you're going to the bathroom. You got to be able to filter out the kidneys and recycle and regenerate the stem cells. And then you've got to be able to sweat because that lymphatic system is right under the skin, and you got to be able to breathe. Got to be able to take all that carbon dioxide and all the acid that's broken down, where you can literally breathe it out. It's like one of the best ways for weight loss is doing breath work consciously. Most people overweight or obese lack proper breathing habits and techniques. So just something to consider. So as the body starts eliminating, this body starts to get rid of waste. The body starts to get rid of old dead. They call them zombie cells. The energy starts to shift. It's like no more energy is being used to digest food. Again, don't quote me on this. From what I've learned and seen, 80% of the energy daily we expend and use is going to digestion. Especially, can you imagine eating 5 meals a day, 3 meals a day? I used to eat 6 meals a day. I was a trainer. I thought I had to do the calorie thing. I thought I had to do 6 meals to keep my metabolism going. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some people that can do that and still optimize and work properly. I always teach that do not do what I say or do not copy what I do. Find what works for you. What's working for me now is literally eating 1 meal, maybe 2 meals a day. I don't really have breakfast anymore. My first meal is usually afternoon. I work out in the rising, but I use salt, Kangen water, honey, beet juice, simple stuff, fruit if I need something, or a little like power protein bite with like just simple, clean, one single ingredients. That's about it. So if a lot of my energy is going to digestion, when I stop digesting, my body flips into autophagy. It now starts to clean. And that's why at first you may hear some grumbling in your tummy. You know, it's kind of like the, it's a pretty good example, right? It's called peristalsis. And it was fascinating because it's like your body is moving food through the small and large intestine for it to be excreted. But sometimes that slows down when we overload our body so much and we're low on energy. If you're stressed out, your nervous system, you're overstimulated, you're on caffeine, your adrenals are shot, your liver isn't producing bile, your stomach acid is poor, a lot of that peristalsis will start to slow down. And again, it's like putting a bunch of trash in the trash can and never taking it out. So you can imagine how many people are backed up. You see some men, especially older men that have those beer bellies. That's an accumulation of mucoid plaque, parasites, fungus, candida, and waste. And you tell them to fast and it's very difficult. The cravings, the mood swings, the anger, the frustration, because I've done a fast in the past. And because of what came up for me, it was hard for me to do it again. It was not fun. And I realized how much of food was a part of my life as a drug, as an addiction, as a vice, as a reward, as a therapy, as a nutrient, all the things, good and bad. But I realized, oh my gosh, so much of my day is predicated on what am I eating next? What am I cooking next? Where am I eating next? Who am I going to eat with? What am I eating? How much? Is it healthy? Am I going to cheat? Am I going to have a binge meal? Am I going to have a cheat meal? Am I going to do a juice? And it consumed me. And I never got to the point where I was doing the protein, carbs, and macros and calories. I never measured my food because that was a whole nother level that it was too much. And so as I was doing this fast, day 3 went by, day 4 went by, and I started to see differences. My skin got even more light, like my hair was getting more soft. My mind was interesting because there were times where I was pretty depleted. I was drinking water, but with the back pain I had and visiting the bathroom, again, I'll spare you the details, but there was a lot coming out, and you can kind of guess what that is. A lot of liquids and passing certain things. Again, spare you the details, but things will let you decide, kind of let your imagination if you feel called. But a lot of things came out. And day 4 went by, and I was like, okay, should I eat? What should I do? And I just stayed with it. And then day 5 came by, and I had an event coming up, and I was like, okay, I could keep going, but I've got a few days before I got to speak in front of hundreds of people, meet hundreds of people, spend about 4 days in Orange County at an event. So I broke it. And what I did, the first thing I ate was an avocado. I had some sauerkraut on it and lemon juice and salt and pepper. And I just ate it really slow. And I'm telling you, if you ever do a fast, that first bite, that first drink, if you're doing a smoothie or whatever it is pretty amazing. And so don't eat anything heavy. Don't have a burger after your fast or a pizza. You really want to set a good foundation for your gut microbiome, because most likely your gut just got rid of a lot of things, more so the bad stuff, but sometimes the good stuff too. So good microbiome, good gut bacteria. The fermented food is amazing. Avocado is fantastic. Lime or lemon juice and some sea salt and cracked pepper, fresh organic pepper. And then I ordered some soup. So long story short, it was eye-opening. It was an experience. It was challenging. It was difficult. And if you ever want to do a fast, first of all, like anything else, like if you have a holistic doctor, do your own research. Don't just dive in unknowing and just saying, oh, I'm not going to eat because I heard the Cobbcast. No. Do some research. There's certain people that maybe have certain issues with their blood sugar, with their glucose, that have some health issues, chronic conditions, pregnant, women on their menstrual cycle. There are variables, and I can't go really deep in all these things. It's a lot to share just for the sake of the episode. So go on social media, go online, go on blogs, ask a holistic doctor, follow some fasting pages, use AI, but do your research. Just make sure you're qualified to do a fast, and maybe start with intermittent fasting. Start where you don't eat for most of the day. Just have a 6-hour window. Do that for a few days, and then start with a 24-hour fast. You don't eat for 24 hours. You're going to be okay, I promise. You're going to feel amazing, actually. And then another week later, do a 48-hour fast and see how that goes. And then do a 72-hour fast, and then build your way up to a 5-day fast. And if you want to go beyond, go beyond. There's people that have done 40-day fast, 10-day fast. I mean, you hear Jesus in the Bible, right? 40 days fasting in the desert. So a lot of this is biblical. A lot of it does have biblical ties of cleansing the temple, cleansing the body. And it's very profound. So it's very, very profound. So that's the fasting part. Excuse me. Part 2. Second part of this Cobbcast episode. So after the fast was done, getting my strength back, feeling a little bit better, but all of a sudden I started coughing. And I was like, oh man, this cough is no fun. Where did this come from? And, there were the fires in LA a few weeks before, and we were up and down a couple times going through the city. And I know there was a lot of contaminated air. So maybe I inhaled some things. I know there were also, gotta be careful with censorship. They're always watching. I know they were spraying in the skies, doing their little cocaine clouds, those lines that are not clouds, that are just lingering and turn into fog. And man, oh man, cloud seeding and weather modification is real. Who knows what they're spraying? I also know a lot of people have said they've had this bad cough, or they had something that they experienced that they were spraying. And anyways, long story short, this cough came up. Just like it's still kind of lingering, but it's on its way out today. I choose to be healed. I choose to be healed. I am healed. I am healed. My cough is gone. Cough is gone. Constantly talking. So the next thing that started to come up is emotions. So we talked about the physical detox, the physical change, the physical pains, the aches, the back pains, the bowel movements, the headaches. Kind of like, again, I had at times like really lucid dreams, and really, almost like certain voices I was hearing. It was very spiritual. It was. And if this is new to you, this realm is new to you of hearing things and seeing things, it can be a lot. So again, meet yourself where you're at. Don't jump in the deep end right away. Just start in the shallow end. Do a simple fast, do a short one, and slowly build your way up. And you'll feel more comfortable and confident navigating these other realms, because we don't live in just one dimension, y'all. And I'm pretty sure you know this. So the emotions started coming up, grief, memories of my dad. And I would look at photos of him, videos of him, and just start bawling. And, also some things that I wish I said, not only to him, but friends and people in the past, things I wish I did, just kind of grief and resent came up. And again, there's these feelings that you feel that kind of take you out of the present moment. They put you into the left brain. The left brain is very good at linear time. Like it can go back in time or forward in time. And, we label back in time and you're stuck there and you're down, you're depressed, or forward in time, you're stuck there, you're anxious. So being present is the gift, truly. So I was just experiencing grief. There were things in my life, remembering of being young with shame and letting people down and hurting other people and, people close to me and loved ones. And, I'm not going deeper into the details or names or anything like that. Just overall, though, because I want to share this to kind of be a little vulnerable here. It is a part of my process I've learned to come out better is to open up about things in my past that I'm not proud of, mistakes, things that I wish I did differently, things that I wish I knew, things that I wish I can change. Right. And so a lot of those came up. And I think a lot of those get held in our heart. A lot of those get held in our lungs because, when you deep breathe and really make breathing a practice, they call it breath work, conscious breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, breath of fire. It's not just to oxygenate your body. I think that's one of the amazing benefits. The other part of it is to move stuck energy. And this energy can manifest in mucus. It can just get stuck in the fascia. It can get stuck in the water, in the tissues, in the mold or in the bacteria or in the candida, if you have it. These entities, these living things that are in our body, like we have more bacteria in our body than I don't know what the statistic is, but there's more living things in us than like outside of us. It's really crazy. So you're literally an incubator. You're housing like a whole nother world within you, whether it's bugs, worms, mold, yeast, mushrooms, fungus, bacteria, it's crazy. But it's so crazy to think because you can't see it. Like imagine if we were all see-through and you can actually see what's in you. Can you imagine people would stop eating the certain foods? It's literally see where their pizza's going or literally see where their cupcakes are going. It's crazy. So back to processing these emotions. Man, what'll happen if you experience this, if you ever feel stuck, or if you ever feel, those points where you can't really think of a sentence or you kind of feel paralyzed or unmotivated, you feel trapped, you feel stuck, you're like in the void, you're just floating in nothingness and you're not motivated to do anything. The discipline kind of disappears. Your to-do list becomes like, why would I even want to do? It's like nothing matters anymore. And it's like a borderline, like a depression in a way. And so these emotions, what'll happen is I was trying to figure out why. I was trying to figure out how. I was trying to figure out what and who and where and when and all these things. My brain was trying to figure it all out. And I started to learn that over the years, that's not how you process an emotion, figuring it out. Because you're always going to create a story. You can make anything out of anything. You can take a newspaper clip and turn it into a whole book about something that never happened and sell it as a factual, actual event. And people will believe it. So our minds are both amazing tools to create, to use, to break down for intuition, for creation, for discovery. And it's also can drive us crazy. Trying to figure out what's wrong. Why did this happen? What's wrong with me? How did this do? What if I did that? And you're going to think and think and think and think and think and use so much energy in your brain and then wake up and realize it's only been 5 minutes, but now you're exhausted. And that's what I started to do. I was like, man, how? Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Like I would talk with people and I would run out of things to say. Like, I don't have words for this. But my back would start pulsing or my chest would get a little tight or my neck would get stiff. I'm like, what is this? And it was nothing as in mentally nothing. It was my body processing emotion. It was my body processing pain. And I know there's a lot of people out there and men, very masculine men that will say, don't think about, excuse me, your feelings or emotions. And to an extent, they have a point because not all of us have these channels. And that's a human design code too. Some people don't have channels to process emotions. So really, they don't have this channel. So the only time they get emotional is when their best friend gets emotional or their mom gets, you know what I mean? It's like, you're fine but you start crying because someone else is crying. That's usually if you don't have an emotional center. But someone with an emotional center, you don't need anyone to process emotions. You just process it. You just feel it again. You feel as if you're living it again. And so putting this all together, when I did my fast for almost 6 days, when I laid in bed, when I stopped eating, when I stopped working out, stopped, thinking and creating and posting and texting and responding and calling and coaching and mentoring, all the things that I love to do, when I stopped all that, a lot of clarity comes in. A lot of emotions come up that you haven't sat with, and your body will find ways to sit your butt down to feel it. And it's one of the healthiest things you can do. It's not fun. It could last days. It could last weeks. I mean, some people can be in these stuck ebbs for months, but I promise you it'll change. The page will turn. You will rise from the ashes. You will get the wisdom you needed to get. You will process the feelings and emotions that you've been trying to label and objectify. You will gain incredible insight about yourself. You will forgive yourself. You will surrender to the unknown and trust God a little bit more. You will have this newfound appreciation for your body and for everything that God gives us. You will become more aware of your habits and your patterns. You will actually start to realize what's important to you and what you're prioritizing in your life that makes sense and feels aligned and intuitively feels good. And that's all amazing. You're listening to this now, and I'm sure all of you would love to have those answers. All of you would love to have that insight and clarity. How much would you feel? How much better would you feel after doing all that? So we want the outcome, we want the end result, but we don't want to do the work. We don't want to sit with it. We don't want to feel it. We don't want to process it. We don't want to, stop it. We don't want to fast from it and, lean in and surrender and trust and have faith in it. That's the hard part. That's why most people, when you tell them to not eat for a few days, they'll think you're crazy. Or, hey, process your feelings. Go sit with it. Just sit and feel it as if it's happening now, and let yourself feel. Let the pain come up. Let the crying flow. Let the aches or the burps or the poops or the sweats or the outburst. Just whatever it is, it wants to get out of your body because your body is so smart. You don't run your body. You're not consciously saying, heart, beat now, beat again, beat again. Lungs. Oh, sorry. Lungs, breathe. Exhale, lungs. Oh, wait, heart, breathe again. You can't consciously run your body. Especially, can you imagine when you're sleeping? None of you are thinking about breathing when you sleep, but yet you breathe all night, because if you didn't, you die in your sleep. None of us are literally mindfully thinking, all right, cells, duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. So who's running our body? What system, what intelligence, what source is keeping us alive? There is a greater source, greater than your mind can conceive. And you have to start trusting that. And trusting that when you slow down, when you do less, there is more that happens. When you give your body a break, when you actually sit and process things and give yourself grace to feel for the first time, let yourself cry, especially as a man, if so, well, the creator of our vessel and our DNA and our blueprint that runs everything will come online. And that's the greatest thing you can receive. And so now it's been a couple weeks. And then again, this cough is on its way out. It's on its way out. And I want to be raw and real in this podcast. I don't want to be perfect all the time. Like, there's still things I'm going through. There's still things I'm processing. You can't come out better from nothing. You cannot come out better from nothing. I'm coming out better every single day. Every day is a new chance to be a little bit better than yesterday. Learn from my mistakes in my past. Feel things that I've never felt before. Let the flow of energy pass through. These are so, so important. I don't think enough people, one, know what to do, how to do it, trust themselves, feel safe enough to do it, or even give themselves the time and grace to do it. Why? Because we're so freaking busy. There's a carrot on the stick that we don't stop chasing. But what if stepping off the treadmill, slowing down, saying no, creating space, making it a priority for you actually just to be and lay and maybe look up at the sky for an hour, or look out into the ocean for an hour, or sit and stare at a tree for an hour, or just lay in your bed with some nice music or classical music for an hour and do nothing. Sometimes that's the best thing we can do. And it's the best thing our body wants and craves and needs. Because when we're not doing these things, we're working hard, we're stressing out, we're stimulating ourselves, we're chasing, we're doing, we're creating. or energy is in motion. But remember, just like the law of the universe and the polarities, what goes up comes down. What pushes will pull. What is a positive is a negative. What is a fire is a water. What is the masculine is the feminine. What is the in is without. What is the without is within. There's always that balance. So if you ever felt imbalanced, you feel like you're eating too much, overdosing, overwhelming, overstimulate, overthinking, these are signs perhaps from God for you to now undermine, slow down, reduce, rest, recover, regenerate, reprogram. That's what's going to be so important for you. So I pray this helped. Pray this gave you some light. Feel what you got to feel. Try to do a fast. Let things go. Process your feelings. Because I promise you on the other side, the outcome you will get from it is your experience. I can't tell you what you're going to experience. I can just share my story. I can share what I've gone through in the last few weeks. And I felt like this was an important topic to share, especially in the world today where it's 2025. We're like in the middle of winter right now. It's darker outside, less sunlight, more temptations, more gatherings, more social media, more phone time, more screen time. And with that, sometimes the body gets a little imbalanced. And so plan something, be proactive, do your research, give yourself grace, take it one step at a time, one breath at a time. And just know once you pass through these emotions and feelings and acknowledge them and welcome them and not shame them or doubt them or label them or fight them or figure them out with your mind, you're truly going to come out better. I guarantee it. So God bless you all. We'll see you on episode 16. And make sure you guys check out all the previous episodes on the Cobbcast. Remember, we're on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. I upload these in my YouTube as well. Follow Come Out Better and all my other pages. And as always, when in doubt, zoom out. The best is yet to come. God bless you all. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care.